Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I am your host for today, Matt Cooper, and today I'm joined alongside Dave Azzopardi. Mr. Azzopardi, how's you feeling? It's a funny old week, isn't it? How much football can change your outlook on life?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, saying that, for some reason I've woke up the last couple of days in a vile mood. I don't know if it's because I'm back at work at the end of the week, or if I do actually need to go back to work because I've just been dossing and doing nothing. But no, in terms of football, you know, if you said to us a couple of weeks ago we'd be out the drop zone for the new year, I don't think many Wolves fans would believe you. So yeah, in terms of football, it's looking a little bit better, thankfully.
You feeling all right now? Now you've broken up a bit, or
no? Like still, I don't know what it is. I'm just annoyed by everything. I'm trying not to bite at things. I'm hoping this will calm me down. But I said I need to go to the gym today just to get a bit of it. I've been doing nothing. That's why. And every little thing's annoying me. So
yeah. I'd get some fresh air, mate. Go to the gym. You might be menopausal, actually. Have you considered you could be that?
No.
Yeah. You start to feel a bit better, mate. I've felt like it the past couple of weeks, mostly just because I've been on the piss for like 8 days.
Yeah,
it always catches up with me. You always end up borrowing tomorrow's happiness.
So I went yesterday to a pub, and I'd driven, and so I didn't drive, and everyone else was drinking. I think that wound me up a little bit as well. Not that I wanted to drink, but when you're sober in a crowd of fairly drunk people, then it's not an enjoyable experience. So yeah. I think that wound me up a little bit as well.
I always do dry January, and I will do in over the next coming days, but there's just some people who can go to the pub and not have a drink, like fair play, because I really struggle to do it. It's like that environment for me is just about is about that.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you're missing out a bit, don't you? It almost like it irritates you. So I get where you're coming from. But for those people who can do it, then fair play, Mr. Jordan Russell. We're not alone. How are you, son?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I am back at work today. Been working throughout Christmas, to be fair, but it's been fairly quiet, thankfully. So it's not been too taxing. Are you back now, or are you still off?
Yeah, no, I'm technically working, but my sort of role. As soon as it gets to the 20th of December, no one wants to talk to you about new stuff anyway. So it's sort of I'm working, but loosely, put it in inverted commas. I guess so. Yeah, obviously do this on the lunch break because we're committed to getting this out, but and committed to our jobs as well, Matt. But yeah, no, it's it's worth putting in there. No, but like I say, it's a good change up really from sort of the I guess the more so the moaning podcast we've been doing. Actually, it's nice to talk about two positive results, I think, and be able to look forward. Mate, I'm gonna. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got to be happy. No, I'm generally a happy person, but I feel like I come on this podcast and what Gary O'Neill did to me between the months of sort of March to November, I'll never forgive him for, because I didn't like that I was so miserable about the football. But we move on now anyway, and brighter things and all that, as I say.
Absolutely. Before we go on to the football, do we have any New Year's resolutions, lads? Anything that you're looking to really drive home in 2025?
No, not really. I don't think so. Stop being in vile moods, waking up.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. I think mine are quite. Mine are lose a bit of weight, play, get better at golf. 1 and 2. That's it. I feel like I'm a good enough person. I haven't got any personality traits like I need to work on. It's just get better at the golf. Lose a bit of timber. That's all I'm after.
I think that's fair enough. I think mine is weight. I have piled a bit of weight on really for the last few months because I've been constantly working. But yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. Not drink as much, eat better, and lose a bit of weight.
I'm only on a calorie deficit again.
I've been doing some meal prep as well. I'll finish it later, ready for the week ahead. Just got to try and stay dialed in, guys. Anyway, it sounds like a Grant Cardone podcast, so we'll get back to the football. Dave, what a week, man! What a week! So we started on Thursday beating United 2-0 and a well fought point at the new White Hart Lane yesterday. It's quite funny how just a change of manager, a new voice can seem to revitalise players.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you offered any Wolves fan 7 points from the first 3 games, people would have snapped your arm off. I think we sort of we went into that Leicester game thinking, right, we've got to win this because the next 2 games are tough, and we've got points out of every single one of them so far, and they've all been fairly solid performances. I think if I had to be super critical, out of the 3, the Spurs game was probably not the greatest, but we had to change things around. You assume for fatigue reasons. Cunha came off injured in the second half, which was a shame, and we'll talk about. But yeah, in terms of results and the level of performance, they've improved a lot in such a short space of time. And fingers crossed now, the only way is up for Wolves.
Let's start with that United performance, Jord. I saw a TikTok actually the other day. I think it was Tom Garrett actually, that the Albion fan. And I tend to agree with him, probably the first time it's ever happened. But even though it's a big result for us, beating Man United doesn't feel like a massive thing anymore. Like, I went into that game, my mate's a United fan, and I said, we're going to turn you over today. And I said, and we're not even very good. But I just knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I think with United at the minute, they've got so many rooted issues, like on the pitch and off the pitch. And Amram's come in and he's tinkering around a little bit. I think there's a big cloud over Marcus Rashford as well, that he needs to get rid of him as soon as possible, because everyone just talks about it every time they lose, basically, at the minute. And yeah, I had the same confidence as you, Matt, to be honest with you. I know, sort of said it after the Leicester podcast, like I just fancied Andre and Gomez who's going to absolutely batter Agati and whoever they put next to him. And I thought we just dominated the game, really. I mean, they almost scored within about 30 seconds, to be fair to them. But then after that, I don't think there was a lot in it in the first half, really. I felt like we were the better team. I thought Cunha was, head and shoulders the best player on the pitch. And then, second half, we well deserved to be in front when we got in front. And then, I mean, the second goal, it was just a pure counter attack, I guess, on the break. But I don't think 2-0 flattered us whatsoever. I thought we were more than deserved the 3 points, and like I say, another clean sheet in the bank at that point as well.
I think even with the red card, Dave, even without that, I think we would have won that game. I thought we were completely dominant. Fernandes showed a bit of petulance. There was the first yellow card. There was 2 or 3 in there before, I think, where he tried to hang a leg out and take someone out. But even without that red card, I fancied us to go on and win it.
Yeah, I think it would have been a closer game, of course, but I felt we had enough quality in the way that we were playing that we probably would have got all 3 points regardless. But yeah, there were a few. I was surprised, I didn't realise it looked like at the time in the ground from the far end in the South Bank, it looked like he given the free kick against Wolves. And then when he showed the red card, I sort of hadn't been keeping track of who had been booked throughout the game. But yeah, I thought fair play to the ref, because players like Bruno Fernandes is a captain at a big club. They can be on thin ice and sort of ride their luck a little bit. But, it was a bad tackle. Looking at the replay as well, it's definite booking, and it's the right decision ultimately. So I think you could tell Bruno didn't have many complaints about that, but it played brilliantly into our hands. Gave us that little nudge we needed to go and get that first goal anyway.
I just wish Semedo would have reacted, because I was a Semedo card away from £1,500. And obviously playing Docker like the right of the 3, towards the end of the game, like Semedo was like nowhere near playing. I was like, this ain't going to happen, and then he took him off. I was like, fucking BT, you wanker. But yeah, it was definitely two yellow cards for me. But George, you mentioned there about Cunha being the best player on the pitch. I know he had a quieter spell for O'Neill's last 2 or 3 games in charge, even yesterday with the Spurs game. He's dominating a game from any position on the pitch. I mean, look how many times he picked the ball up like around Totti Gomez at left back and just got us up the pitch. For people talk about, I saw an Arsenal fan on TalkSport saying break the bank and spend 60 million on Cunha. For me, I think he's a £100 million player. I really, really do.
Yeah, ultimately, when it comes to valuations, it's their worth to the team, right? And Wolves at the moment, and Wolves fans, we value him at that, like I say, £100 million. I know it sounds daft, but it actually isn't. Of how important he is to our team. He's that vital to any success we're going to have moving forward this season and hopefully into next season as well. So if people want him, they're going to have to pay big money for him, and I just don't think that clubs will do that. I don't think that the profile that he's got right now. More and more people are starting to, and I've said this, more and more people outside of the Wolves network are starting to understand how good of a player he actually is. But I don't think that people will spend 100 million quid on him. So that if that's the case, we ain't going to sell him. But yeah, you're right. That Man United game, it reminded me of like, when you're at school, like a year 6 playing against like a year 3 or year 4, just dribbling around them, taking the piss. He was just everywhere, like you say. He was that good against Man United. In terms of complete performance, his defensive duty as well. Again, something that got highlighted earlier on this season by Gary O'Neill. He was doing the dirty work as well, and that's what you want from those sort of players. Like I always found that, some of these mavericks, if you want to call them that, are luxury players where they don't actually do the hard yards as well and the dirty stuff. And actually, Man United, he was everywhere. And I think maybe it's that little thing or that wake up call of post the Ipswich debacle, which he still haven't been banned for. That it's actually, he's rolled his sleeves up and gone, that ain't gonna happen here, like anymore. Like Vita's come in and said, like, petulance I ain't gonna stand for that petulance. So maybe he's just sort of matured himself and just gone, you know what, I'll do all my talking on the pitch.
Yeah, he's off the ball stuff was great as well. I know that Gary O'Neill had criticised him for that previously. Dave, Gonzalo Guedes looks, I don't know what they've done with him, because this bloke who's playing now, I've never seen him before. I don't know if it could be his brother or...
Yeah, I think the fact that when Strand Larsen and him were both dropped yesterday, I say dropped, sort of, put on the bench, but I think everyone was like, why is Strand Larsen not playing? I think that says a lot with how, look, Gary O'Neill, fair play to him for obviously trying to reintegrate him into the squad, and he's obviously, said something to him at the start of the season, and although he wasn't quite getting the starts, I thought against Ipswich he had a really good cameo, and fair play to Vitor for putting him straight into the starting lineup against Leicester, but it's stuck because it's worked so far. I think all of a sudden his work rate on and off the ball has improved a lot. I think he struggled a little bit, not struggled as such, he still played well yesterday against Spurs, but I think he struggled, as did everyone, in front of goal, because without Cunha, I think we struggled to find that little bit of quality in the final third, really. But certainly his cameo again against Manchester United, it's starting to look like the player that we thought we were spending the money on a few years ago. So as daft as it sounds, it's like a new signing, really. A player, a player last summer that I think you would have snapped someone's arm off for 10 million for. All of a sudden, you're getting your money's worth. So really, really happy with that turnaround, really, and really unexpected, to be honest.
There's a chairman in Wolverhampton somewhere whose ears have just pricked up when you said like a new signing.
Sorry, Jeff. Well, thank you, Jeff. That's me. Sorry.
The revitalisation of Gonzalo Guedes means that we won't be dipping into the transfer market for a centre half. Yeah. You can see it coming now. Talking of centre halves, and he was actually quite a big miss yesterday in Totti, but that back three of Doc, Bueno and Totti, never thought it would work. I've never been convinced by Santiago Bueno since he joined Wolves. I agreed with O'Neill in terms of he looked physically miles off it, but again, it's kind of completely changed my perception of a player. Perhaps he's playing a bit more of a natural role. Perhaps what Gary O'Neill was telling him to do isn't within his attributes, but I thought that it's really well balanced, Jord. I mean, even Doc, you're having a bit of an Indian summer, isn't he, last few games?
Yeah, and again, maybe it was more so just out of necessity that he had to play Doherty, Bueno and Totti away at Leicester just because of availability and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I think Doherty's been a revelation, Even yesterday, the Spurs game, he's always been someone who's always got a lot of stick throughout his Wolves career, and I've never been one for that because I've always thought, you know what? I've always said he's quite limited, but actually what he does well, he does very well. Like when he was playing right wing back, he was always just be on the end of things, and there's just the knack of scoring. And yeah, playing right centre half gives me kittens a little bit, but he's looked unbelievable. I feel like it simplified his game. I've always thought he's been very good in the air. Aerially been very good. Yeah, I think actually, yesterday, I know we're going to talk about Spurs, but yesterday against Son, every time Son was trying to cut inside, he just matched him and like muscled him off the ball, manhandled him, defended him extremely well. And yeah, that United game didn't put a foot wrong. I think Bueno as well, like you say. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Rasmus Højlund. I don't think I can't believe they spent 80 million quid on him. And when you talk about Cunha for 100 million quid, they spent 80 million on Højlund and Anthony.
There is the rumour that it was something to do with an agency that Ten Hag's involved in, but it's been quashed. But...
Yeah, load of rubbish. But yeah, like I say, they've both been awesome. Both been really good. And Totti, I know he wears Rockports, but I thought he did really well as well. I thought he handled that Ahmad really well as well throughout the game.
He must be the same size as Bellegarde because he was wearing them yesterday.
Bellegarde was wearing bloody Crocs, I think.
He weren't good, was he? He weren't good. We'll come on to that in a bit. That Cunha goal though, Son scored one, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago? Hands up if you knew it was called an Olympico.
No, did not know that at all until the Son one.
Utter woke nonsense, mate. That's what it is. Utter woke nonsense.
He said he meant it as well, didn't he? He tried it in the first half as well, and then he'd gone for it again in the second half. So I mean, it was a clear tactic by Wolves because they'd sort of sandwiched,
didn't they?
Crowded ran Onana, who just dealt with it, and then I think it would have been so harsh to have disallowed it. There's no foul, there's no infringement in there. You could stand in front of the goalkeeper. And yeah, unbelievable goal. It's funny, I was doing a little bit of video footage for TikTok, and I record Cunha come and pick the ball up and put it on the spot for the corner, and then I stop, and then he takes it and it goes in. So I obviously didn't get that bit on camera, but yeah, it was right by where I was. I couldn't believe it when it had gone in. But yeah, brilliant goal.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't see the problem in what they've done. I know that some United fans have said that it's a foul, but if your keeper's being crowded, it's either your job for your keeper to come out and just run through someone because you're going to get protected, or for your team to bring players away. For me, I mean, the delivery itself is like postage stamp, isn't it? It's like inch perfect, but the job of those players just to stand the ground, and there wasn't any shoving or anything. Like, I think Santiago Bueno was just stood there, wasn't he? So you can't be calling a foul for that. For me, it's poor defending and really poor goalkeeping.
Yeah, he could have done what he did a few years ago when he punched Sasa in the head. Like, just as a goalie, you can just come in, like I say, mate. If he comes out and tries to
big guys,
if he just tries to go and come out and claim it and runs into the back of Santiago Bueno and falls down, he'd get a free kick for that because he just would. Like, as soon as a goalkeeper goes on the ground, it just happens that way. But actually, I know obviously VAR quickly checked it in. I don't know what Onana was going mad at because, like you say, all the Wolves players literally stood the ground. No one raised their arms or anything. They just stood there, and he's just flapped at it and got nowhere near it and made a tit of himself. So, yeah, the goal. I'm glad it was given a goal because I do think the goalies get way too much protection for that sort of stuff. And like I say, there's no foul in there. So it's just pretty bonkers.
I do think goalies get protected, but from a goalkeeper's point of view, it's if an attacker's running in the box and they get the slightest touch of a goalkeeper, they go down, it's a penalty. So why isn't it the other way around? If an attacker runs into a, I don't think it should be, but just playing devil's advocate. But I remember the Kalajdzic incident. Was that start of last season?
Yeah,
and they interviewed Onana after the game, and they said, "Do you think it was a penalty?" And he said, "Nah, it's just two big guys coming together." Well, I think the same in the box, mate. I just think it's two big guys coming together, and you flapped it, son. So he weren't great, was he, Onana?
It's a normal Saturday night for you, mate. Anyway,
That's not true. It's normally five guys, and I'm not a fan of burgers. That's a lie. I am. Hwang on the score sheet, 2-2 now. Could this be the return of Hwang? I've got a feeling that no matter who the manager is, these results would have come because every single year from December to middle of Feb, we always turn into prime Barcelona, and that's my theory that we're going to be hot in January. We won't sign anyone, but even last season, it happened, didn't it? We went on that mad run. Season before under Lage.
Yeah,
we could be back.
And Lopetegui as well, didn't we? Yeah. So,
yeah.
I thought Huang was quite underwhelming, I think, for the majority of yesterday's game, to be honest. I thought the finish was fantastic. He's only had 2 shots all season, and they're both being goals, which is a crazy stat. But when you consider the amount of minutes he's played and he's only got 2 shots, a little bit concerning for a forward player. But, I mean, both... the finish yesterday against Spurs, fantastic. Really, really well worked goal. I said it on my review. Reminded me a little bit of Neves against Villa at home a few years ago. It's just a really well hit strike. But yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed with the rest of his performance, to be honest. I think I'm a little bit worried when, I think it will be a when Cunha's suspended. I'm a little bit concerned that how we're going to find the quality in the final third. Because I think Strand Larson, yes, Gedge, yes, but Huang, I think to replace I don't think anyone's going to be able to replace the quality that Cunha gives us. And Huang's well off it at the moment. I'm hoping it's just a case of he's not really started many games. He's not really got the sharpness in yet. And we start to see that. But look, I can't take the goal away from him brilliant, but I think the rest of his performance needs a lot of work.
I don't think he's ever been one to dominate a game though. I think
he's better as a number 9. Don't get me wrong, but I think with Strand Larson there, you're not going to get him as a number 9 really, although Vitor has been playing Gedge and Cunha a little bit closer to the striker. But like you said earlier with Cunha, even against Spurs yesterday, he's absolutely everywhere. He was at left back 1 minute defending, picking up the ball, pinging it across, and the next minute he's on the edge of the box. So unless you can find somebody with the same work rate and quality that Cunha's got, then it's going to be a struggle, I think.
They're going to have to adapt, aren't they? They're going to... I mean, it looks like Cunha might be injured, which might be a little bit of a kind of soften the blow of the ban. But Jord, they are going to have to adapt for games moving forward. But it's given me a bit more comfort that, like Gedge, Strand Larson's been good this season. Players seem to be stepping up a little bit more compared to the start of the season.
Yeah, well, it's confidence, isn't it? Like say, 3 unbeaten. That confidence is flowing for the team, and players are taking more risks and more confidence on the ball and all that sort of stuff. And I just think it's one of those things that you've actually seen. Going back a little bit to what you said, Matt, where you think these results would have come. I don't think these results would have come under O'Neill. Put it like that. But I do think the bounce is naturally going to happen. But I think the manager's got to take a lot for that. Ultimately, yeah, if you lose some of Cunha's ability, you are going to struggle a little bit, but I imagine, and I fully back Vita to sort of prepare us in a way that the game's going to be tougher, naturally. But if we can just eke out results, and we're going to get chances. And the one thing I'll always say about Huang, his all-round game, I think he's questionable at times. He's deadly in front of goal. He's like even last year, and he's also a player that goes on like these purple patches. So it wouldn't surprise me now throughout January if Huang went on to score 3-4 in 3 or 4 games as well. I think he'll just carry on his goal scoring record really, or there's a good chance of that. And I think actually Huang, Gedge, and Strand Larson's a good. It's a decent front 3 still in the Premier League. I think I worry a little bit about how they're going to, how they're going to play together. But I do actually think on paper it should work still. And I think, like you say, Cunha now taking that knock, it's probably a good time for him to have a service suspension whilst he's going through whatever he's got at the moment. Just hopefully it's only a couple of weeks that he's out for, and he's back probably. Because I don't think we'll see Matheus Cunha injury or not throughout the whole of January. To be honest with you, I think he'll be back in February.
Yeah, I do think that they might rely a bit more on Aït-Nouri to give that kind of unpredictability in Cunha's absence. The only issue is that for that you probably want to play him a little bit further forward, and with Totti being injured, we haven't got another left wing back. Probably going to be difficult for him to impact the game from a more advanced position. But let's move on to the Spurs game yesterday. Obviously, Spurs they've got a few injuries. They're in a bit of a sticky spell. With Ange, always feels like he's 2 games away from being sacked, which you could probably say that for a lot of managers. But there was rotation yesterday, Dave. Bellegarde come into the side, Dawson come into the side because Totti was injured. And I think Huang started as well, didn't they? So when that team come out, I think we're all the same. I think it's got to be rotation, surely.
Yeah, someone messaged me saying, "Why are you being a pant wetter for?" I said, "I'm not pant wetting." I just said, got to be fatigue. I said, "I mean pant wet." If I went mad and says, "Why is the manager changing it?" and this, and fair enough. But I just said, like I wouldn't have rotated. Obviously, must be fatigue.
Yeah.
So look, they're all capable footballers, and Huang certainly shut quite a few of us up within the first few minutes of that finish. I think Dawson struggled a little bit, but I don't think that was solely on him. I think it was the way that we were set up.
It was unbalanced, wasn't it?
Eight Nori was bombing down the left hand side, and we got caught out a couple of times there, which was a little bit frustrating. I think the second goal, especially, was just so avoidable. But yeah, going back to what you guys were saying about the back three, I think even Santi Buenos looks a lot more solid. He's still got one or two things that I think he needs to sharpen up on. But
He
I
wasn't
think
as good yesterday.
Yeah, I think Doc's been the best out of the back three, the flat back three, which is crazy to think, really. And like you said, if again a back three of Doc, Bueno, and Totti probably would have been unthinkable. But Totti was solid against United. I think that, again, we saw it against Leicester. And United, he did it once or twice. Complete miskicks of the ball, just completely misjudging the flight of the ball and stuff like that. But I think his physicality in terms of his pace and his recovery against Spurs, it would have worked quite well, to be completely honest. But I think in terms of sorry, I'll carry on. In terms of a replacement centre back, I think Wolves need to try and jump on that sooner rather than later if they want to make sure they've got a solid back three throughout January and onwards.
Yeah, I think they could do with a left-sided centre half as well, if possible.
I think that's the area they should jump on. To be honest, I think that's the area they should go for.
So I know there's the rumour about Danso, the lad from Long. He's right-footed. There's also the rumour of the other lad from Long as well, isn't there, Dave? But I think he'll probably go somewhere a bit bigger than Wolves.
Yeah, I think he will be the more expensive. It sounds like, without looking into it too much, they need a little bit of money. So, I think there's a market there. Football Insider, the ever-reliable Football Insider, had said that Lons will probably be open to a loan with an obligation or option to buy on Danso, which I'm not 100% sure on. But, that rumour doesn't seem to want to go away. But, like I said, I think you've known sort of since the Mosquera injury that you've needed a centre half, which was a good few months ago. So for me, Wolves have got to have someone ready through the door early part of January. I'm not expecting it New Year's Day, but certainly I think by your sort of first or second league game, Forest is the first one, isn't it? But yeah, definitely by mid-January, just after the FA Cup game, you probably want somebody in and through the door to strengthen that back line. But even Vitor said it yesterday, Totti injured. I don't think he's completely convinced by the back three. Moy Pugh obviously hasn't had much of a chance yet, but not really played in the 21s either, so maybe he's just not quite ready yet. I think Wolves, for the quite crucial stage of the season, probably need to get someone a bit more experienced in, and then we can obviously evaluate the situation again in the summer.
Yeah, that was a bit unbalanced yesterday, wasn't it, Jord, with Dawson at left centre back?
Yeah, it was, yeah, but I think I saw a lot of things on Twitter yesterday which I didn't quite like really about Dawson and people writing him off and being a little bit, I'd say a little bit unfair to him really. I think he's been a brilliant servant to Wolves since we've had him. I think he's had a very, very good career in the Premier League as well. And I don't think it helped, like you say, he was playing on the left side. Aitner was bombing up and down. He had Brennan Johnson running at him. And whatever you think of Brennan Johnson as a footballer, he's got a bit of pace about him. And I think that caused him a few problems at times. But yeah, look, I think Dawson's still got a place within the squad and within the team, especially when you're saying about someone experienced to come on when we're seeing games out. But I thought some of the things that I saw yesterday online about Dawson were a little unfair, to be honest with you, and a little bit degrading, to be honest with you, for a player who's, I don't think he's barely put a foot wrong for Wolves since he's been here.
Yeah, it's only been the last few weeks, hasn't it, where he has looked like he's got old overnight, but I don't think it helps playing on that left-hand side, especially with him being right-footed, because a lot of the time it goes down to line to Aitner, doesn't it? Back into the pocket and into the channel. And he did get forced inside quite a lot of the times and nearly got caught out. But what he uses, Dave, he's a good box defender, isn't he?
Yeah, I think in the middle of the back three probably would have worked fine, but I think just it's worked so far because you've got Totti who's got a decent little bit of pace, Doc who's he's not rapid but he's not slow either. So either side of Bueno you've got that recovery pace where Semedo and Ait Nouri, if they get up, you've got players that can turn around and but when you've got somebody who's right footed, not too quick, it's a struggle. And look, I'm not saying he got caught out on the counter attack loads yesterday. But there were once or twice where he probably could have done with a little bit more support, or if there was a left footer there, it would have worked a little bit better. But like Jord said, he's had some great moments towards. I think this season we're starting to see him slow down a little bit. His contract's up at the end of the season. I think the Athletic put at the start of the season that they were half expecting him to stay beyond this summer, but I think Wolves will run that down and sort of see this season now as a chance to maybe look at a new player for that position. But massive part of us staying in the league really under Lopetegui, regardless.
Yeah, I know they're after him before as well, weren't they? Before he eventually come in, but yeah, I think he's one of those you might bring on for the last 10 or 15 minutes when you're under siege in attack.
He did at United. He did well against United. Won a couple of crucial headers. So yeah,
that's the thing that frustrates me the most about the goal though, the corner. I don't necessarily think it's all on him, but it was almost like flashbacks, wasn't it, of yesteryear under O'Neill, just so poor and flat-footed. And if they are going to go and get a centre half in January, which I hope they do, it's got to be someone who attacks a ball, who's aggressive. Jerry might get caught out a little bit in being too kind of eager to get the ball, but we just don't have, for me, we don't have a centre half, Dawson aside, that really goes and attacks a ball.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're not almost aggressive enough. I think Bueno to Totti, even Doc in a way, they're quite technically pretty good defenders, but in terms of the physicality, you put them up against a big striker. I think next game against Forest is going to be an interesting task when you're going up against someone like Chris Wood. It'll be interesting to see how they do with that. But no, I do agree. You want someone, but even down the other end, a threat in the box. Just don't ever feel like we're going to threaten or score from a set piece ourselves at the moment, to be honest. But yeah, Spurs came close twice yesterday.
Lucky them.
They scored the goal, and then I think it was Dragusin who put it just wide from the corner, which is a little bit of a worry, especially as we defended set pieces so well the two games before.
Yeah, the goal that they conceded just after Hwang as well, and the Johnson goal just before half time. That free kick, though, I know you said we haven't scored from a free kick, which is true, but it also isn't true. But I think you said on the review, Dave, it was similar to Neves at home to the Villa a few years ago, where Hwang looks disinterested, he peels off, and that's still a really difficult finish from there.
Oh, I think it's a brilliant strike as well. Yeah. It's such a good strike. Hits it so sweetly as well. But yeah, that's like I said earlier. I can't take anything away from the strike of Hwang. I just think stuff like corners and stuff, we're not as effective from as we could be, I think. But I think hopefully I eat my words over the next few months. We score a couple of goals from the set pieces, because it's a handy. When you're up against it, it's a handy way to get back into a game.
Look at Arsenal as well. Like predominantly, most of their goals are from set pieces. Football's gone like full circle.
We literally scored direct from a corner last game as well. I don't know.
You are talking about your ring piece, sunshine. He hasn't got a Scooby. It is a great finish. I don't know why the Spurs players were whinging about a block. There was literally nothing in it whatsoever. But yeah, it's frustrating to go and concede 5 minutes later. But let's talk about the penalty, because when I first saw it, I thought, yeah, it's a stonewaller. Like you can't. There's no complaints. But then I watched it back this morning from the angle of almost like from behind the goal, and I don't know how you lads feel about it, but for me, it looks like Andre's got there in front of him, and Brennan Johnson's like kicked the back of him. So I think it's a foul the other way. I don't know. I don't know how you perceive it.
I think it is a foul the other way, but as soon as there's contact initiated, it's not a clear and obvious error, is it? I think Brennan Johnson's been clever. I don't think he's dived. I think he's been clever. And you see those sort of actions happen all over the pitch, really. But typically speaking, you see those actions happen anywhere else on the pitch, and it's usually the defending team that gets that decision. I think the ref was far too quick to give the penalty. And yeah, like say the angle, Matt, that you've seen from the other angle, like Johnson. If anything, Johnson's fouled Andre. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. So it's just Yeah, I think it's a poor decision. I'm just glad Sarr saved the penalty because I think we'd have been really disgruntled, and we'd have, it was almost justice was served that he saved the penalty. I think it was a poor penalty, by the way, but yeah, those ones I just think, I don't know. I think it was a poor decision by Chris Kavanagh.
Yeah, but I don't think there's clear and obvious for me. I know it doesn't really make sense, but I don't think they're ever going to overturn it, are they, Dave?
No, I thought when I was watching it back, I thought it was harsh. I think you're probably right. I did say in the review, I think most of the places on the pitch would probably give those as a foul, but I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on it. I think I understand why it didn't get overturned because ultimately, like you boys know, with VAR, when it gets given, it's given. But I think, like you said, Jord, if he's not so quick to give it and they give the VAR a chance to actually look over it, they probably say that it's not a foul. So it's just one of them. But yeah, like you said, thankfully Sarr stopped it. A good solid save as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a good save. Sarr I thought he was a lot better against United. Commanded his area brilliantly. Was releasing the ball quickly as well, which it's just, I don't know whether it's because of an instruction from O'Neill. I think a lot of it is on Sarr as well because he just I'd love to spend a day in his head. Only one day though. I think anything more than that would scare me. But even like yesterday, there were so many times where I'm just like, oh my God, what is he doing? And thankfully he got away with it. He must have taken on Solanke about 3 or 4 times. He must have completed about 4 or 5 dribbles yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what he was doing, man. And I agree with you. I think it's Leicester and against United. Even in terms of his distribution, it just seemed a lot better. It wasn't unbelievable. It wasn't fantastic, but just a lot more solid and just doing simple things, just laying it off a little bit quicker. Getting his head up and finding just a straightforward pass rather than panicking and hoofing it. But yesterday he was a little bit too laid back, and he's so fortunate, I think, not to have got caught out. The one that wowed me was right at the end. Like Vitor was obviously, I think, playing for a draw, which is fair enough. Semedo had a free kick and he played it back to Sarr. He was about 25 yards out of his goal, and he still tries to take on the player. So just put unnecessary pressure on, really. And I think hopefully over the next sort of 8 days or so, that's something that's going to be worked on. But I saw just in that short period of time between the Ipswich game and the Leicester and United games that there were definitely positive changes in how he was playing and his distribution and so on. Anyway, even the quick throws and the quick kicks out, that caused a couple of good counter attacks over the last couple of games as well.
I'm just looking at his saved to non-saved penalty history on Transfermarkt. Can anyone guess the last time before yesterday that Jose Sarr saved the penalty in the Premier League?
Was it Fulham?
It wasn't.
Against Mitrovic? Or Forest?
It was Forest.
Yeah, Forest. Yeah. Forest and Fulham, he saved them in that first season.
We won 1-0. Yeah. Brennan Johnson missed the penalty.
That was it, yeah. That was under Steve Davies, I think.
Yeah, and the one before that was Fulham. That was Mitrovic. Fulham, yeah. But yeah, there's been quite a lot.
That's a while ago, that.
Yeah, 2022. Them pair.
So how many conceded in between there? Like 5 or 6, or?
I'm just having a look. So let's have a look for 24-25. He has he's 3, which was Clivert. All of them. And then in 23-24 there were 8, which he conceded all of those.
Haaland
I felt what last
season.
Yeah, and then there was only 2 the season before, and then he saved 2. I feel like last season he was on a bit of a run of giving them away for free as well, wasn't he? Like rushing out, but yeah, it's a good save nonetheless. But the second Spurs goal, I think it's good play down that right hand side. But to be honest, down that left hand side. But I think if a goal was going to come, it was going to come from down there. I think it was pretty obvious, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Brennan Johnson's runs poorly tracked by, I think, Andre and João Gomes as well. I don't know. It's good attacking play. I think if you're going to be super critical, maybe it shouldn't have even got down towards Kulusevski to start with. Bueno and Dawson, I think, have got to do better. But it's far too easy for Brennan Johnson just to ghost in between the 2 midfielders like that, to be honest. They've been very solid as well over the last few weeks. And I think Andre came off with a knock yesterday. But João Gomes, again, pretty solid. But yeah, just far too easy to concede, which is frustrating really because you concede that right on the right at the end of the first half. You give yourself a bit of a job to do in the second half. Then.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Hwang giving Jose Sarr instructions for the penalty kick. He's down on like the halfway line, and he's like holding his arm up like this, pointing towards the side, and Dragassin's pulling his arm down, and he's like running across the pitch, going like that, pointing to the right side.
Yeah, out of the 5 penalties though, it came up as a graphic. Out of his last 5, 4 of them had gone that way.
Yeah.
So he's 9 times out of 10 he's going to put that way. And like I said, it was a poor penalty, but a solid save.
He was pretty poor, wasn't he, Son? He never scored against us. I don't think he's ever scored against Wolves.
Yeah. Probably hasn't actually. Thinking about it, I can't think of one. For Son as well. Like, I think he's been a really good player in the Premier League. I feel like he's dipped a little bit in the last 12 months or so. I think he's probably the one.
No Kane, that's why.
Maybe, yeah, quite possibly. But he's the one under Ange Postecoglou that I thought. Don't think he's really. I think Kulusevski's probably the best player Spurs have got. If you ask a Spurs fan,
he's
right now,
brilliant, man. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's never scored against us. Two assists in 13 games, but never scored.
Yeah, we know what's going to happen down the Molineux then, don't we?
Think,
later on the season.
There's a few players like that. I remember looking when Ronaldo come back to Premier League. He hadn't played us a huge amount of times because he was at Madrid, but he's never scored against Wolves.
Yeah.
Lionel Messi hasn't scored against Wolves, believe it or not.
Makes you think, doesn't
it? Makes you think, doesn't it?
Paying all Pessi. Were you going to say something else, Jord, about the goal, or?
I can do if you want me to. No,
yeah,
I wasn't going to. Yeah, go on. No, I just think, I think you bang on. I think we've always spoke about it earlier on the pod, right? That with Aitnery bombing forward down that side, Dawson's getting exposed a little bit, and then it was just. Sometimes as well, you can see the goal and you go, you know what, it's a good move and it's well thought out. And it was just really annoying and frustrating that it was just on the stroke of half time to concede that, because I don't actually think we deserve to go into the break behind, to be honest with you. But football, these things happen, right?
Yeah. Substitutions made at half time. Cunha, towards the end of the game, there was a couple of situations where I think he could have maybe opened his legs up, but perhaps the hamstring injuries explains why he didn't. So Cunha came off for Jurgen Strand-Larsen, and Bellegarde came off for Gedge. Bellegarde, fuck me, he was so bad. I do feel for him a little bit because I'm not really sure what his actual position is. And I don't think it's that wide right player. There's almost like a third of a midfield three, isn't he? Where he probably would flourish, which is a system that we don't play. But I think one thing you can say for him is that in possession, he holds on to the ball, like you can give it to him, and he might buy a foul or get you up the pitch a little bit. But yesterday, that quality had gone, and for me, it was a bit of a liability that first 45.
Yeah, he struggled, I think, really. He started off quite brightly, his Wolves career. He's had injuries, he had the suspension where he got sent off against Luton as well. Just never really found any momentum in a Wolves shirt. And I don't know, I don't think we spent a fortune on him, but, he's one of those players that you look to maybe move him on, because just in terms of, unless we're missing something, in terms of quality, I just can't really see what he's bringing to this Wolves team at the moment. Like you said, Matt, I think his best position is probably in an area where Wolves don't really have a player or at the moment. So his qualities just don't work in this current system. We've struggled to see it under Gary O'Neill, and we've not seen it really over the last few weeks or so either. Yeah.
I don't think they'll move him on, though. I just think probably because of his versatility. I think that's probably...
If he's happy to be a squad player, then brilliant, but just at the moment, he's just not showing enough going forward.
I think that's all he's ever going to be for Wolves, though, isn't he? I don't think he was under any illusion he's going to come in and be like a surefire starter every week.
Yeah, his record is good at Strasbourg, though, so I thought maybe, he could, but I don't know. He hasn't really got that explosive pace. His ability on the ball is okay, but just hasn't in front of goal or creativity-wise, he's just not shown enough, to be honest. So, little bit, and you're not going to put him in a midfield too, are you? Maybe as a free, as the third, sort of at the top of the midfield, fair enough. But at the moment, it's just not quite working out for him.
Didn't he score a screamer against Forest this season?
He did. Yeah, he did. He scored the goal against Forest.
He scored a good goal against Sheffield United as well, didn't he, last season?
I can't remember. Probably.
Yeah, it's from outside the box, I think. No, but I do agree. I think he shields the ball and protects the ball really well. But yesterday, he wasn't doing any of that. We definitely saw an upturn from the subs who came on. This Cunha injury, though, Ferreira. We had this conversation on the train, didn't we, Dave? Keep calling him Abel Ferreira. Vitor Pereira said in the post match that it doesn't look like it's going to be anything serious. But to be honest, Jord, I don't think whether it is or not is going to make much of a difference. Obviously, I hope it's not, but I think now we're probably going to learn the fate for that ban. Now we're coming into people coming back to work.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't see him playing in January, whether he's fully fit or his hamstrings fallen off. It's probably, again, not that you want him banned or even want him to be injured or anything, but it's probably going to be a blessing in disguise that he's going to take his ban whilst he couldn't play anyway. So it's not going to impact us in any way, shape or form in that sort of sense. I would imagine that we'll probably hear from the FA Thursday, Friday this week, I'd have thought, because I reckon we'll get a New Year's Day out of the way and you'll hear about it before the end of the week. Just because as well, there's been a few clamours from, like, I don't even call them relegation rivals necessarily, but, Ipswich Town fans going mad about he could play and stuff. But, we've played the system perfectly. You appeal. That appeal is going to happen at post-Christmas, and we've got 3 games before Christmas with a new manager. We've just done what any other club would have done in that situation.
Yeah, so if you see the time frame of all other incidents like this, they're similar, if not longer than this anyway. They're taking sort of 6 to 8 weeks to come through, and plus you add Christmas into the mix as well. This was always going to be this sort of time frame. So if they do a little bit of research, or actually use their common sense and have a look, then it's not unusual. It's not like they're giving Wolves, special timings just to make sure we, get as much out as we can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was obviously Cunha's fault that they shipped 5 at home to Newcastle, though, wasn't it, as well? So
that's the thing, regardless, he's going to get banned at some point, like, regardless. So because he scored 3 on the bounce or whatever he has, or 2 on the bounce, and been a star player in those performances, then kind of tough. And I know that the Premier League, I think it might have been the Premier League or the FA with the Duran appeal, Villa appeal for the Duran red card, and it was turned down within like 24 hours. So, is that just because it's an appeal? They're able to kind of fast track that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a completely different matter though as well. I think it was a red card appeal compared to this is like a violent conduct. It's a completely different thing. So,
yeah. What's your thoughts on that, by the way? The Duran red card?
I think it's quite harsh. I think especially the appealed rejected. I don't think there's any malice in it. I don't think. I do think it's quite harsh.
The only thing I'd say on the Duran thing is, I think the thing I think about it though is obviously just playing football as you do and stuff. I feel like I think he knows what he's doing. I feel like I'm not saying it should be a red card, but I think he's left one on him. I do think he's stuck it on him a little bit. And the thing that doesn't help Duran is that the action on the replay, it's almost like flicks his leg up a bit at the end, so it almost looks like he's scraped. Like the action at the end of it doesn't look fantastic. I don't think he was ever going to get overturned. Put it like that. I think it'd be difficult to say it wasn't what it was when it. Yeah, but again, only he will know whether he meant it or not. But I think it's harsh he got sent off, but I do think he meant to leave one on him a little bit, yeah.
I think Shaw leaves one on him though as well. When he's coming in, he leaves his leg up, I think. But I think Duran's reputation has probably gone against him as well, which is it shouldn't, but I think it has it in that instance. So obviously with Cunha, there's the elbow, which I think is the bigger incident out of I think the glasses one's it's not the worst. I mean, I think it's quite funny, really. Now we've kind of all come around from it, but the elbow's distasteful. I don't want to say that at all. But what do you lads think of a potential ban? How many games? So if he does get banned, or when he does get banned, it means he'll be banned in the FA Cup as well. So potentially, if we beat Bristol City, there's a couple of games that you'll be able to not be in the Premier League. Just looking at a history of bans. So Kudus got a 5-game ban for the two incidents against Spurs, which I don't think are as bad as what Cunha did with the elbow personally, but I think just because it's an elbow. Bentancur got 7 games for the comments about Son. Mitrovic did he get 8 games or 10 games for the 8 games when he did like shove Chris Kavanagh? Yeah, he shoved him. Suarez. Yeah. Suarez 10 games for biting Ivanovic. Prutton 10 games for pushing Alan Wiley over. 11 games for Di Canio for pushing ref over. Joe Barton got 12 games for that 3-man assault versus Man City. Adrian Mutu got 7 games for doing too much beak, and then I think
throwing it back here, Adrian Mutu.
Yeah, mate, what a player. Bosnich as well for the same reason. Tonali 10 months. Joey Barton again for betting and 13 months, and then Cantona was 9 months for his kung fu kick. In terms of a sliding scale, how many games do you think Matheus Cunha will be banned for? I think 6.
Based on that, I think about 5. I think 5. I think it's harsh to go over 5. I do.
I think
5 and a big fine.
I think 5 as well.
Yeah.
I hope so. I think it's just a little. I mean, I don't agree with the Kudus ban being 5 games. From memory, didn't he just like shove Van der Ven in the face and then give someone else a slap, something like that? I think that's what it is.
Just the head's gone.
I think it's probably. I think it's just the elbow because you can see exactly what he's trying to do. Unless there's mitigating circumstances. It'd be interesting to see if the Ipswich guy said something we don't know, do we? So not that it warrants that sort of reaction, of course, but but it might lead to a smaller ban.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I think either way, people are going to moan. People will moan either way, like opposition fans, whether it's a 3 game, whether it's a 6 game. I think 5 game, no one can really have many complaints. Opposition wise.
Just looking at the next 5 games, so it looks like it probably wrapped up before the Forest game on the 6th. He'd missed Forest, he'd missed Bristol City, he'd missed Newcastle, he'd missed Chelsea. When's the next round of the FA Cup if we beat Bristol City? Is that like end of Jan?
I think it's normally end of Jan, yeah.
End of Jan. But don't they normally play it in the midweek, though? I'm sure the midweek 4th round's been midweek recently, or the 5th round. One of them 2 rounds has been midweek.
I have a feeling they changed that, but you might be right. 4th round is the week. No, start of Feb.
Thought it might be, So he'd missed the Arsenal game as well.
8th of Feb.
But he might 8th of Feb.
Yeah.
So if it's a 5-game ban, he'll miss Forest, Bristol City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal. If it's a 6-game ban, he'll miss Villa on top. So you're hoping it's a 5-game ban.
Big games, some big games there for it to miss. Massive. It's going to be a massive miss for those. Big miss.
I mean, like I said, the injury might soften the blow a little bit, knowing that you can't play him. I think it's always a bit of a concern with Cunha, though, especially around this time of year. Is those hamstrings, especially the way he plays. I know last year he had the same incident as well, didn't he? He was out for quite a while though. But yeah, it's going to be a big miss. But going back to the Spurs game before we go on to the questions, that finish from Strand Larsen, I think he swung a leg at it, but that is pure instinct for me. What a finish that is, and to think that some fans don't really rate him, I think he's been really good this season.
Yeah, I don't think you can take anything away from the ball from Aïnouri as well. It's an unbelievable pass.
Yeah,
the pass and finish, Jord, was unbelievable. The strikes hits it so sweetly. I think everyone in the ground, it sort of panned to Spurs fans on the replays, and everyone just stunned. So I think we're all expecting the flag to go, but how quickly and the quality of the ball and the finish, great way to gain yourself a point. Definitely, fantastic goal.
Yeah, Jord, you about to say something, mate?
No, I think some of the criticism that's been sort of put towards his way has been completely unfair, and I think fans were looking for a scapegoat. And I think because he's a big lad, it's one of those things. Oh, he doesn't win enough in the air, he doesn't do this, doesn't do that. But I think he should just appreciate what he can do, and I think he's a very, very good finisher. I think he works extremely hard for the team, and yeah, that finish against Spurs yesterday was top level. Weaker foot as well, top corner, class.
He's starting to get a bit more recognition from other teams as well now. And that's when you know that a player's doing all right. I was listening to TalkSport this morning. They were talking about him being more than just like a big lad up top. I think it was Sam Matterface and Alex Crook saying that they really like the look of him. I saw that stat that he's top for hold-ups as well, which I'm not necessarily sure that's an actual thing you could quantify. But I don't think that's the best part of his game. I think he's an unbelievable poacher.
Yeah, finishing. He's pretty clean. I can't remember many chances where he missed.
I don't remember many chances that Wolves have missed though.
Yeah, like clear cut ones.
No.
He's pretty clinical. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a great finish. I mean, Forster just like flaps his hands, doesn't he? Before he even knows it, it's past him, and it's exactly what we deserve from the game. First half, I thought we were poor. Second half, I thought we were the better team.
I think if we lost the game, it would have been a little bit frustrating, to be honest. I think a draw is probably a fair result in terms of quality, chances we created. But the positive for me was that how Vitor changed it to go attacking, because I think he knew the game was there to get something out of. So we got the point, deserved point as well. Unbelievable finish, just top shot. I couldn't believe it when it gone in. Like I said, it just felt like time had stood still, and the whole stadium was like, "What's just happened?" But yeah, just a top strike. But the ball from Aït-Nouri, and 2 assists yesterday, to be fair. But that was a great knock and a brilliant finish by Strand Larsen, who I agree. I think he disrespected quite a lot on social media. I think he's a top player.
Yeah, I think so as well. And he's still a fairly young lad, isn't he? As well, he's not. I don't think he's completely filled out either. I think there's probably a lot more he could do in terms of. I mean,
no, but in terms of
boy, but he's not. He's quite slender, isn't he? He's quite lean.
It's what we've lacked since Jimenez, though, isn't it? Really, really struggled to find that replacement for Jimenez, and I think not necessarily like for like, but we found a proper number 9 now. Someone who could get about a little bit as well. He's got good height to him. Sasha was a unique player, Kalajdzic, because he was tall, but in terms of the physicality, he can't really get himself about like Jorgen Strand Larsen can. So, again, that would be interesting when Sasha's back to full fitness, which is probably going to be in the next couple of weeks or so. But, a top player, and I think we're quite lucky to have him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think talking about the ball from Aït-Nouri, it's a wonderful pass, that is. I think he's been pretty poor this season, personally.
I do agree.
5 assists, 3 goals from left back already. I mean, if you double that for the rest of the season, you're laughing, aren't you? And
yeah,
I think we're going to see probably more, like I said previously in the podcast, more come through him the next few weeks whilst Cunha's away.
Yeah, and same with Strand Larsen in terms of the numbers that he's putting up. I think, considering we've had such a poor first half of the season, if that was the halfway point yesterday, you double, on average, if you double the numbers that some of those players again, it would be a very, very good looking stat sheet for the end of the season, to be completely honest.
I think if Cunha wasn't suspended and he's fully fit, and if Mo Salah wasn't a complete freak of nature, I think you might be looking at a player of the season nominated for Cunha.
Yeah, just need him hopefully after the ban.
Yeah,
he finds that form quite quickly again. But it's a massive test, I think, for Vitor between now and the end of Jan, because, like you said, we do tend to go on good runs, but he's going to be a massive miss. I think the Wolves would be in a very difficult position without Matheus Cunha, as we've seen over the last few weeks of Gary O'Neill's tenure. When Cunha doesn't turn up, the rest of the team struggles to tick, really. So big test for him, really. And so a couple of lads need to really step up, and hopefully we start to see that against Forest, who are on an unbelievable run, don't get me wrong, but I still think they're there to get points from.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be easier with Cunha in the side, but yeah, I think it'd be a tough game. We'll move on to the questions now, because I'm just a little bit conscious of the time. So Stone Cold Strand Larson has asked, would Gary's Wolves obtain the same results against Leicester, Man United and Spurs? Leicester are the worst team in the league, United are a shambles, and Spurs' defence is shaky at best. Jordan, I'm going to let you answer that. Oh, he's not here.
He's gone.
I think you knew the question was coming. I don't think. I think we probably get a point against Leicester and get beat by Spurs and United.
Yeah, I don't think you get 7 points from those three under Gary O'Neill. I don't think you beat. Yeah, maybe 4 at a push. I don't think you get the 7 from those 3 games.
He's back now. Jord, someone's asked, would Gary O'Neill got the same results against Leicester, Man United and Spurs?
Not a chance, mate.
We thought we might say that.
Not a chance. No, I did think about this earlier, and I don't know why. I was walking the dog, and I thought, I wonder what Gary O'Neill did with his Christmas.
Oh, bless him.
Bless him. Cups of tea, whatever the gaff.
Yorkshire tea gift set.
I don't know if you saw. I don't know who reported it. It might have been is it Tom Collamossi? Collamossi. Reported that Wolves hierarchy, and it's obviously typical of when a manager gets sacked. During the international break, instead of staying at Compton, O'Neill fucked off to Dubai with his family on holiday. I think some of the Wolves hierarchy almost like raised eyebrows at that, considering the position that they were in. Don't know if you saw that.
Under the thumb, mate. Under the thumb.
Yeah.
No. And I didn't see that. I do think with that sort of stuff, though, it's like you see the James Madison stuff yesterday as well, being at the darts.
I love that.
I've just seen that.
And like he's basically said, "Oh, shut up,
shut up." He said Wally, didn't he? Shut up, you Wally.
Yeah.
Shut up, you Wally. Yeah, that's sorry, Wally, not Muppet. If you have got, international break, I'm sure he's got a few days off that he wants to spend with the family. It's been pre-booked. Like, I ain't got too much of an issue with that. I think it's, if we'd have won 3 on the bounce and he fucked off to Dubai, everyone would have been like, yeah, we'll go to fucking or a Sky Bar as well and get yourself in the jacuzzis and all that. But because we'd lost a few games, everyone's like, yeah, don't leave the country.
I think it was after the international break, after the Fulham.
The Brentford one.
No, I think it was the Fulham one. I think. Was it?
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right. We
beat Southampton, beat Fulham. And then it was international.
Yeah, then we went on international break. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It's gone now. But Boubacar Traoré has asked, short-term solution for Totti Gomez, or can you see a new centre-back being brought in before Forest? I don't think there is really a solution. You need a left-footed centre-half to play there. Is Moypugh left-footed, Dave, do you know?
I think he's right-footed, if I had to guess.
Well, it's 50% chance, isn't it? Do you think a new centre half will be brought in before Forest on the 6th? I don't think so. This is Wolves.
I'd be very be shocked if it's before then. I was just having a look. No, he's left-footed actually.
There you go. There's your solution. As we've been told time and time again, the solutions are within the squad. So.
That's Gary Mean.
Yeah. Lordy1912 said, "Hey boys, hope you've all enjoyed the new start under Pereira. But my question is, besides the new centre back, what position would you prioritise for the upcoming January transfer window, and what's your reasoning behind your answer?"
Oh,
good question.
I don't really think that maybe a left back, but I liked the Rodrigo Gomez cameo at wing back against Leicester. Possibly another talented sort of forward player. I think you got Hwang, you got Gedge there.
Someone's going to have to go as well, aren't they, because of registration? I think it's probably Sarabia and someone else.
Yeah, I do wonder about Lemina's future, as well, because look, I have no doubt he's probably injured, but he's not been part of the squad since Vitor's come in. He was in the dressing room against United, to be fair, but I do wonder what happens with his future. But yeah, I think players like Sarabia probably move on. But I would probably bring in another forward player if I can. If you can, you would have to spend a lot of money, but if you can find someone in the loan window which has got a top quality to get close to Mateus Cunha, which is going to be very, very hard to find for cheap. I think that you've got to get somebody else in. I think as well, especially if he's banned for a few games, and then you've got to allow for injuries and stuff like that as well.
But then also it's if Cunha is going to go in the summer, now's the time to maybe buy someone to rather than bed them in for 6 months rather than bring them in the summer when they're still fairly young, and then take another couple of years to get up to speed.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think Forbes had a little bit of a run out yesterday against Spurs. Just don't think that experiment's worked out unless this was part of Wolves' long-term plan. But he looked pretty lively. I don't think he's the answer. But I am intrigued to see, what happens. I think defender's got to be priority, and it'd be typical Wolves to leave it late. But they've known for long enough that they should try and get something done within the first week or two.
Yeah. How about you, Jord?
I think there's a couple, right? I think you've obviously got, like you say, I think if you could add a quality forward player in that's going to make a difference to the 11, I'd bring them in. Because I think, you can never have enough quality in those sort of areas. But granted, you're probably going to have to lose one or two, like you say. I think right wing back's an interesting one as well. Just because I don't think Semedo's sticking around as well. For the same premise of what you're saying about Cunha is someone you can bring in. I know Pedro Lim was someone we brought in young, and I like him, but I haven't seen enough of him. And there's obviously a reluctance to chuck him in. I still think goalkeepers somewhere we need to upgrade as well, to be honest with you. I know we brought Sam Johnson, with Sam Johnson sitting behind Jose Sarr, and I thought Jose Sarr was a problem in the summer. I still think he's a bit of a problem now, albeit I think now he's simplified his game a little bit in these last 3 games under Pereira. I can live with him as a shot stopper. I just don't think he's very good with the ball at his feet. But yeah, I'll probably name about 4 or 5 positions there. I'll go with a forward player.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if they went for someone like, who've been linked with him before, Almeida at Valencia. I know they're bottom of the La Liga, but someone who can play in midfield but also can play a bit more further forward, a bit more advanced. I don't think they're going to go for an out-and-out
Bellegarde and his gash.
Yeah, but yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they're going to go for someone who's just a left back or a left winger. It would be someone who can play various positions.
Of course, versatile.
Yeah, but I also think if we are back in bed with Mendes, then what may have felt like the impossible a couple of months ago, maybe it's slightly more possible. In terms of going for someone who's out of our reach, but yeah.
João Felix on loan.
I wouldn't. I don't think Mendes could work that magic. But why would João Felix be motivated to come and play for Wolves?
No, it's true. You wouldn't get the work rate that Cunha gives you, for argument's sake.
No. Freezing Wolf says the vitriol against She's not going away for now. So what would you prefer? A new, motivated and serious investor who insists on moving to a new development away from Molineux? B, Fosun remain in charge with their self-sustaining model, but we stay at Molineux. A, I'm not even fussed about personally staying at Molineux if it was a better stadium that would increase commercials.
Depends on the area of the stadium, isn't it? Really, as well. Like you'd struggle to keep it city centre.
Goodyear site, apparently, mate.
I just want what's best for the football club, and there's going to be a lot of fans. I think the older generation will be attached to Molineux a lot more than probably people around our sort of age, sort of 40 or younger. George, you'll probably know your generation a bit better, to be fair. No, I'll probably go with A as well, to be fair. But I know there'll probably be quite a few people seething that we've even suggested that.
George still remembers sitting on a crate in the South Bank with his rattle, watching Dugan.
Going through the drains to watch it. Really right, lift that trophy.
Crawling through people's legs in the turnstiles to get in.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah. I've got good memories of Honbed. So, I don't know. It's difficult, right? So I always think, like, in theory, the new stadium's exciting in a way of, you can build a state-of-the-art facility, have all this, world-class facilities, entertainment, whatever you want in there, building their hotels. I think when they did the blueprint before, they were saying about a casino as well. But I just think a lot of these newer grounds, they feel a bit soulless as well. And that's the one thing that we've got, is that actually Molineux is quite authentic. That is an old stadium. It is in the heart of the city centre. And I would really struggle to want to give that up. But yeah, for this question, if it gets Fosun out of the way, then I'd go and play the Hawthorns, to be honest.
I think as well, if you take the ground out the city centre probably dies overnight. I'd imagine a large percentage of
Well, the city centre's dead as it is. Like, and again, even like, sound like I'm going back in my day, like 33 years old now. But when I was 17, 18, town would be lively, like most of the week. Like now, it's match day or it's dead, literally, the whole time. And that's within 15 years. So, yeah, the football stadium moving away from the town would completely kill it. But I think it's dying already.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think you'd be able to build it where Molineux is. If it was like state of the art, it would be Fosun's plans.
You'd have to do similar to what Spurs did, and you'd have to knock down. You'd have to take over Asda, which has been apparently the plan for the last 40 years or whatever.
Before it was even in Asda.
Yeah, and but you'd have to almost overlap the stadiums, wouldn't you? It'd be a very difficult task.
I also Telford, yeah. I also think as well that new stadium would be great, but as you've seen with like Everton, they've had to be a bit more frugal with the spending. Infrastructure doesn't actually go against your PSR, I don't think. But obviously the money's got to come from somewhere. So, as long as it was done without the detriment on pitch performance, which I think is impossible. Final question from Mark. I don't know if he thinks we're interviewing Vitor Pereira or if it's actually for us, because the questions tweet's got a picture of Vitor on it. So it could be for us, it could be for Vitor, but it says, have you sampled the Black Country cuisine yet?
Definitely for Vitor.
Definitely for Vitor. Unfortunately, we don't have access to Vitor to ask him, but I'm going to ask you two. Faggots and pays, pork scratchings, and a pint of Banksy's.
I don't know if I've ever had a pint of Banksy's. I haven't had like with the old school Black Country with the peas. I like faggots, the food.
Yeah, they're grey peas, aren't they?
Great. I've never had
grey
them.
peas.
And pork scratchings I've had, yeah. I've got to be in the mood for pork scratchings, I think. The fresh, like the proper ones are a bit like, we went to a pub in Lower Green, Tetnall, the Swan, and there was one with all hairs and stuff like that. I thought, best. I can't, But yeah, I do like pork scratchings though.
But you, Jord?
Yeah, I don't like faggots and peas, but the Banksy's, I wouldn't go for it, but I would have one if I saw one every now and again. And yeah, pork scratchings are a firm yes, but I prefer the softer ones.
Yeah.
Oh no, the softer ones are a bit too salty for me. I
do like the salt. I think the salt's the best bit on them.
I had a bag of scratchings last night, but I can never finish a full one. It just gets too much.
Yeah.
It's like Dave with a point.
Hey. I was triple parks at Leicester, wasn't I?
You were, mate. I was
triple.
I know people were asking whether we were pissed on the match review.
Oh, someone said I was on the gear or something, wasn't there?
You would. To be fair, you always get that kind of level.
It was freezing though, wasn't it? It was freezing,
and everyone's like moaning about my bar, and it did look horrendous. To be fair, but it was blowing a gale. But I was pretty pissed. To be fair, I thought we held it together quite well considering.
Yeah, we did. Exactly.
I actually really like faggots and peas. Scratchings I do, but again, I have to be in the mood. I went through a stage of really liking them, but now it's just, I have to be in the mood. I've never actually tried a pint of Banksy's.
Me either. That's our next one, Matt.
Yeah, we'll have to try that. We'll have to give it. It's a bitter, isn't it, Jord?
Yeah, you can get bitters and
Banksy's mild.
Yeah, Banksy's bitters, Banksy's mild.
Banksy's mild.
Typically a bitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a whirl. That's it for this week, guys. Anything else that you want to add, or happy to knock it on the head? Well, thank you for listening and getting through the podcast. If you have listened to it on Spotify or Apple, please drop us a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, please drop us a like and subscribe if you're new. In typical Luke Bennett fashion, I did drop a message on Christmas Eve saying Merry Christmas. I did say to the lads I'm about a couple of points away from wishing Luke Bennett a Merry Christmas, and to be fair, he replied in record speed. But yeah, what a lovely bloke. And yeah, have a great new year. Thank you for sticking by with us for 2024. Hopefully 2025 is a little bit better than 2024. If not, I don't think I'm going to be able to cope with it, if I'm honest, from a purely footballing point of view. But yeah, until next time, have a wonderful New Year's, and we'll see you all after the Forest game. But yeah, take care and have a good one.